Hey guys! So today's video is the first in a brand new series called Making My Very First Fursuit. Yes, I am a furry. I have been for many years. There's no reason to hide that. I kind of alluded to it in my winter outfit video. This video will be part one where I go over I'll explain a little bit of how I got here as well as the plan for this fursuit. Like I said, I've been a furry for a few years now. In 2024, I decided I wanted to finally buy some accessories that I could wear. The plan at the time was to go to a local furry convention, but unfortunately that never happened. But I went on to Etsy and I looked around for hand paws as well as ears that I could wear. I had some vague ideas of what my fursonas would be. Yes, that is fursonas as in plural. There are two that I have. The first one is pretty standard looking snow leopard. And the second one at the time was a green moss covered fox. Snow leopards, cats are my favorite animal. Snow leopards are my favorite of the big cats. And I also really like foxes, so put them together. Two different fursonas. Some of the accessories that I bought were, like I said, ears. This is from the same Etsy shop. I will put the name up on the screen. The first pair that I got, well, I got these both at the same time, but one of the pairs is this really cute snow leopard pair. When I saw that it had the snow leopard print on the back, I knew I had to get them. So I have this pair of ears. And the second pair, which kind of helped inform me on what my second fursona would look like, is this pair. At the time, they had a series, they called it the Moss series, I believe, where they had a few different animal ears in this color, this green kind of mossy color. Some of them actually had, I think, fake moss on it. So this kind of informed my second fursona, and I got these as well. Finding hand paws with the snow leopard print on it is pretty difficult without it being a custom order. But I did find one shop that had the option for custom solid colored paws, and I saw that they had green ones. So I got a pair of these green paws. Now I did pick the color based on pictures alone, so it was kind of a gamble to see if they would match. They're a little similar. This one's a little bit more of a muted green versus this one. They look way more different on camera. In person, they don't look that different. So I got these, and I got a bit of a surprise. Oh, where is it? Doesn't want to make no. There it is. They have little squeakers inside. So at the time, I was like, yes, this is perfect. I have something easy to wear. But me being me, I wanted to go a step further, and I knew I couldn't afford commissioning anything, but I know how to sew. It can't be that hard. I looked online and I found some patterns from Spilt Grape Soda, and they had a foxtail as well as paws and a cat tail. So starting with the fox, because I had more pieces for that, I decided to make a tail. And I thought it would be really easy to find fur that matched. No, not from stores. I went to Joann's thinking there would be a couple options for green, but there was only one shade of green available. I bought it anyway, and it's this bright neon green. It's kind of messy because it was in my closet. But I bought this fur. I got it both in the green and the white. and it's pretty shaggy fur, which was good for my first attempt at sewing faux fur. I also bought the wonder clips suggested by fursuit makers since it's easier than trying to pin it. Sewing faux fur on the machine is so much more difficult than people make it seem like. Maybe it's just because the faux fur from Joann's was cheaper than what you can get from places online, but it was not good. Thankfully, the shagginess of this kind of covers up the mistakes that I made. And I think it turned out fine for my very first attempt. I also wanted to make paws for my snow leopard, and I had bought faux fur from Joann's that said it was snow leopard, but honestly didn't really look like it. On the backing, it looked like snow leopard spots, but on the front, it didn't look anything like that. I still made the paws because I wanted to learn. Those I basically made entirely by hand. I no longer have them because I had sold them on my Etsy, but I do have this video that I took for that listing.
So, bring us back to Barbie.
Wait, no, it's Grim.
There was one more thing, well, technically two more things that I had bought with the intention of making my fursuit. I knew that if I tried to make a fursuit head entirely out of foam, I didn't trust myself to sculpt the foam well enough into the shape that I wanted. I also knew that a lot of people who make fursuits kind of do the bucket head method, where it's literally just a tube of foam with holes cut out in the eyes and the nose, and that they would then glue foam onto that to form the full head. I don't wear contacts, so I would need there to be space inside for me to wear my glasses. So I found 3D printed heads. This is the fox, this is the snow leopard, well, canine, big cat, and it came with bottom jaw and some stuff for the eyes, more traditional eyes, the eye sockets and teeth, which I'm not quite sure how I'm supposed to put them together. They were marketed as having movable mouths, but I have no idea how I'm supposed to move them. They didn't come with instructions, even though it said that it would, and so I've been putting it off. I did buy faux fur with a snow leopard print, a really good one, but I've been too nervous to try and make anything out of that. But this video is not about the snow leopard, it's actually about the fox. Recently on TikTok, I saw a TikTok from a maker called Bee's Hive, where they made a patchwork jackalope fursuit, partial fursuit. So it was head and paws. And it was a revelation because it meant I didn't have to use faux fur. I could use fabric. Here are some screenshots that I took, and I immediately fell in love with it. I knew that it would be a lot easier for me to make something like this myself because it was fabric, not faux fur. So I have decided that the fursuit, my fox fursuit, will be a patchwork fursuit. I will be making a tail, paws, and a head, starting with the tail. For today's video, the plan is to figure out the fabrics that I will be using. I have a pretty large selection I can pull from. I have some that were pre-selected by me for a patchwork outfit that I never got around to doing. I even more recently was like, oh, maybe I'll make pants or something out of this fabric before seeing this TikTok. So those are the fabrics that I'm going to mostly pick from, but I know I have more that if I need it, I can pick from them as well. My fox is still going to be green with some hints of yellow and white and off-white because the story is that he was a plush fox that got lost in the woods and had moss growing on him. So I will also be embroidering moss onto the fursuit. So let's move to the table so I can start to look through the fabrics and decide which ones will be best for this fursuit. Okay, so this is the pile of fabrics. I had started to cut it up a little bit back then. I don't plan on using a lot of really bold prints like this greenhouse one, but some of them, these are from packs of fat quarters, and a bunch of them have been cut into quarters because I still thought I was going to do, a patchwork dress or skirt or something. They have all been pre-washed. I actually zigzag stitched the edges before pre-washing them. But I'm just going to quickly go through and put into piles, I think, colors, and then my favorites. So starting with the neutrals and yellows and greens, and there'll also be a pile of fabrics that I don't want to use. So I think I'm going to do that as a montage. So I've got my pile of yellow, and I grabbed some extra ones from the drawer. These are the kinds of packs that these fabrics had come from. I don't know if I'll need all of them. And then I have my green, some extra. Not too thrilled about the watermelon print, but I do have strawberry print. And 2 different cactus / succulent prints. I wish I had more like white and off-white fabrics, but I just have these beige and brownish ones. So it's gonna have to do, unless I want to dip into my plain white fabric, which I don't. I want the whole thing to be patterned in some way, even if it's like subtle patterns like this. I also have, you can kind of see over here, an array of an array of trims. I got some really wide ones. Got 1, 2, there's a third wide one. 3 wide ones. And then one in the middle, some more narrow ones. And then there's also this beige actual lace, but because it's such a vast difference from these, I might not use this. So yeah, that's kind of the colors that I was thinking of, the fabrics and colors that I was thinking of. I guess now I need to figure out which fabrics I absolutely want to use and have definitely be on the head, because that's what's going to be seen the most. So the fabrics that I love the most, and then kind of figure out from there. Let me show you the pattern pieces. I only have pattern pieces for, like I said, the tail and the paws. So some of them are, you can see they're broken up into pieces. That's the cat tail, I believe. Yeah, so this is the tip of the foxtail. Some claw options, tail base. That's cat. Oh, that's right, I had to print out the cat, I think. That's the cat. So I don't need any of that. I don't need claws. These are the paw pattern pieces. Fingers, the inner fingers, the inner paw, the wrist area. Oh, there's the... Yeah, so I don't need any of this right now. So here is the fox tail. And because originally, as you saw, I cut it all out as one piece, except for this, because this was a different color. The arrows are for the direction of the fur. I think what I'm going to do is separate 1 through 4 into pieces. Keep 4 and 5 together because they're pretty small. To kind of be because it's patchwork, to patchwork, this is one fabric, this is one fabric, this is one fabric, this is one fabric, this is one fabric. Maybe even it's 2 different fabrics because I would have to cut out 2 of every one. So that's kind of what I was thinking for patterning the tail at least. But as you can see, the pieces are relatively small, so I don't need to worry too much about a bunch of these having been cut. And the ones that I pulled from the drawer, these I will wash them if I find that I need more. I feel like some of this yellow is too bright. Yeah, that's more of an orange. And if I need to, I can use this one. Okay, so got the fabrics figured out. I guess at this point, there's really not much else to talk about in the planning video that this is. I've got my colors figured out. It's going to be more yellow than I expected, but that's fine. I really like yellow and green together. I wish it was more white or off-white and less brown. But I looked through all of my fabrics like these, and some of these have white in it, but they also have other colors in it. And I'm on the fence about these 2 because they also have blue in them. The last thing I want to show is the way that I plan on embroidering the pieces with moss. I realize I do not have enough embroidery floss to do this, but I do have lots of green yarn from a project that I'm never going to finish. Back when I was really starting to get into crocheting, I tried again a raglan top-down sweater, and this is what I got. This is how far I got. I think at this point I realized it was too big, and this was before I figured out the sizing issue that I was having with this pattern. So I think I'm going to use the 2 shades of green from this sweater. That won't be for a little while because I have to sew them first to even have something to embroider. But that is where I'm going to get, that's what I'm going to do for the moss on the pieces. All right, I think that's everything that I need to talk about in this video, the planning video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy crochet, sewing, or any other kinds of crafts, please consider a follow. I upload every Sunday, and I hope to see you there. Bye.